Red Bun means we're live, a casual take with your boy Stephen Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. So Mike Tomlin has announced that Russell Wilson is the opening starter for the Steelers this season. Surprise, surprise to absolutely no one. Listen, we all knew that Russ was going to be the week one starter. He's a veteran quarterback, 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, has more experience than Justin Fields, was actually brought in first to the team, and Tomlin gave him pole position to start when he got here. I get that. But as much as I understand why he was given the starting job, I don't see this lasting that long. Like, shorter time than me in a room with Ana de Armas. It ain't lasting that long. I predict this gets ugly pretty fast. And I think we see Fields sooner rather than later. Because let's face it, Russ is washed. He is not good enough to overcome that bad offensive line. Holds on to the ball too long, takes too many sacks. Now, Fields has similar issues, but at least he can move better. He can provide some juice to this offense. Russ is stale. So when I looked at the Steelers' schedule to point out when I think Russ is going to get benched, I immediately circled Sunday Night Football, Week 5, Cowboys come to town. I think the Steelers enter that week 1-3, 2-2 at the best. The offense is abysmal. And, man, Micah Parsons and that Cowboys defense on national television, I just think bury Russell Wilson behind that line, and the terrible towels boom off the field. I think it gets ugly week 5. That's when I think Russell Wilson gets benched. Because building into that week, the first 4 games of the season, they start the year against the Falcons in Atlanta, where Russ is given the starting job. They're a field goal underdog. Kirk Cousins is in there. The defense, I think, now is elite. You guys know how much I love the Falcons this year. I've done 2 episodes on them. I doubled down. Vegas likes the Falcons too. I think the Falcons are better and win that game. What's the headline after week 1? Because we all like to do week 1 overreactions when the Steelers offense can't move the ball in Atlanta. It ain't going to be good for Russell Wilson. It's just not. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but when Tomlin announced the starting quarterbacks, he just said Russ was a QB1 for week 1 to open the season. He didn't do a Gerard Mayo, Jacoby Brissett's the starter for the season. No, he said just week 1. Mind you, this is the same head coach who, when his first-round quarterback came off the injured list, they didn't put him back in for the playoffs. So I can see him easily moving off Russell Wilson. But week 2, I think they handle the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are that good. But then week 3, Harbaugh and Herbert coming to town. And then week 4, you got to visit Steichen and Anthony Richardson and the Colts. Those are 2 good offenses back-to-back. Could lose those. So I see, again, 1-3, 2-2 at the best. Now, a bunch of Steelers fans are going to think that those are winnable games. All right, guy from Pittsburgh, you think you're going to go 3-1 into Sunday Night Football? Well, if you survive the first half of the schedule, you're sure as hell getting buried in the second half of the schedule. Because from week 11 on, they get a couple Mickey Mouse games, Giants, Commanders, but then they have the Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals to end the season. So if Russ isn't just cooked after Sunday Night Football week 5, he's sure as hell getting buried by week 13, and Justin Fields is going to be the starter. Listen, I'm not trying to be so anti-Russ. I think actually in a vacuum, to give Russ some credit here, so I'm not just bashing him the entire episode, that he is better than Justin Fields at the quarterback position. He sees the field better than Justin Fields. But this isn't 2012 Russ. This is 2024. Russ is Mr. Checkdown. He's not dynamic and rolling out of the pocket. He takes too many sacks. Most sack quarterback last season. Holds the ball too long. Again, I'm not a big Fields guy too. You guys know what I believe about Fields. I don't really like him that much, but at least Fields can move. He provides some pop, some juice, a higher offensive ceiling, some hope. And in this division and that schedule, when you're playing playoff team after playoff team after playoff team, and you can be 4-8, 5-11 before you know it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to need some hope. And that's what at least Justin Fields can bring, is some hope. So you're probably wondering, why don't I think Fields is starting week 1? Again, because Russ is the more experienced quarterback. And you kind of have to, politics-wise, give him that job. But unless Fields had a superstar preseason, this wasn't going to be his job. Russell was brought in first, giving pole position. But don't get it messed up. Russ didn't win this job in the preseason. Fields just didn't do enough to win it himself. Because if you look at the preseason numbers, let me pull them up here. Fields played 56 snaps to Russ's 25. Fields was 19 for 27, 119 yards, and 1 scoring drive, while Russ was just a bit better, 10 of 12 attempts for 73 yards and a scoring drive. But Fields had 3 more air yards per attempt and had more on the ground. Again, just more pop, more push ball down the field, more scrambling and actually getting first downs, while Russ was getting stagnant, couldn't move the ball down the field, couldn't run, took sacks, and was checked down. So again, I understand why Russ is the starter. The more experienced guy, he was brought in first, and he probably should start Russ week 1 instead of Justin Fields. Let Fields get a little acclimated into Pittsburgh. But I think this gets ugly fast. And I'm looking at the Steelers' schedule. It's tough. And with that offensive line, I just don't think Russell Wilson is dynamic enough in 2024 to overcome that poor offensive line. And before we know it, Steelers fans look up, terrible towels are, getting waved in that stadium chanting, "We want Fields," by like week 6. And I think Russ heads to the bench. I don't think Russ is going to start for the entire season. And I actually think he's going to head to the bench a lot earlier than – it's not a unpopular opinion to say Russ is going to get benched, but I think this happens a lot earlier than some people think. But I appreciate everyone for tuning into this episode of A Casual Take. Follow my social medias to stay updated on all things related to the show. Till next time, see ya.